I bought one of those cheap Amazon valve spring installed height checkers. Just got it this morning. Wanted to check it out. I checked the valve, just checking the measurement. Right now I got 1,775. I think on this valve here I had, let me see what I had on here. If I can see. Front intake. Installed height. I think I had 1,780, so within 5 thousandths. That's me checking calculating the installed height by measuring from the spring seat on the bottom to the spring seat on the top. Just kind of doing it like that and kind of measuring it using my finger as a gauge under the top retainer. So I got within 5 thousandths. Now this one's aluminum. Get out of here. I bought one probably 35 years ago, a nice steel one, and I check it at first. I checked it just how I checked this one. Checked the installed height with my dial caliper, calculated it, and then I stuck that tool in there and checked it, and it was a good 60 thousandths off. And that was from a brand name tool supplier. So it was always off. So whenever I'd use it, I had taken an engraver and etched on the top of it there, minus 60 thousandths, because it was always off 60 thousandths. But stop, get out of here. Let me pull this thing off here and check. This one goes from 1.6 to I think 2.2 inches. I need to have the valves cut on these, the back cut with a 30 degree. Something I've been doing for probably 40 years, 38 years maybe. And I'll tell you what, folks, I might just end up buying new valves, new 23 degree valves. Because when I checked at local machine shops, they wanted stupid amounts of money just to grind a couple of, basically to grind two valves 30 degrees. It was more money. It was cheaper for me to buy two new valves than it was to get them to grind them. Isn't that crazy? Something that takes less than 5 minutes and they want to charge $30-something a valve. That's crazy to me. And then you got to trust them to be able to do the work correctly. But let me check this thing here. I gotta use the camera here to be able to read it, because my eyes don't zoom in like they used to. I have 2 appointments this week. I have one tomorrow and one Tuesday. I think they're going to do a laser on Tuesday and an injection tomorrow, and then cataract surgery. Get off me, cat. And cataract surgery on May 1st. quiet. Get your ass down from there. Get down. All right, I just zeroed this out here. Like I said, I can't see extremely well, but that should be at 1.6, and that's 1.6, and I'm at 1.605, so I'm within 5 thousandths, or this gauge is within 5 thousandths, which is perfectly tolerable to me, especially since when you're setting the installed height, you do your coil bind, and everybody else does 50 thousandths. So I'm more generous. I go 80 thousandths to coil bind, which gives me, even if I'm off 10 thousandths, that still puts me well within range. But that's it for my little handy dandy valve spring tester. Works good for me. Just verifies that I'm still somewhat, at least a little bit accurate with my dial caliper. Well, I know the dial calipers are accurate, but as far as me being steady and being able to see it well enough that they're right on. So these cameras, they're pretty damn handy. I don't need who needs a magnifying glass when you got a camera? So I'm off slightly. I'm at -1, I think, there. So still, I'm well within range on this thing. Trying to scrounge up some money to actually put some decent valve springs in here instead of these stock ones. I'll probably go with the compny conical or beehive springs. I used to use compny springs a long time ago, almost exclusively, after using Crane and Andrews and iwll and several other companies. And always had good service with comp. Buy directly from them. They were actually cheaper. When I checked the other day, buying directly from compny was cheaper than anybody buying the exact same springs from anybody else. You know, when I first looked at them, I put in compny beehive springs for Harley. And, you know, I looked at a couple and I'm like, well, you know, that price seems kind of high for that. And I kept shopping around. I was like, you know, I can get the iwll springs from Goods and Tools for like $135, which, you know, iwll doesn't make their own springs. Comp doesn't make their own springs. Andrews doesn't make their own springs. They're buying springs from probably PSI or somebody like that, a spring manufacturer. Because all these companies are little teeny companies that don't have facilities to make their own springs. You know, same thing, you're buying lifters. You know, S&S doesn't make their own lifters. Crane didn't make their own lifters. Pretty much Elgin makes lifters and somebody else. Elgin's in Michigan, I believe. They make lifters for Chevrolet. They make them for Harley. They make them for all kinds of people. And then they rebrand them as whoever. The only difference is, you know, comp versus kibble weight is, you know, having used both. And I like kibble weight. I still use some of their stuff, use their valves. But comp cams, the set of beehive springs was like 123 bucks. The lowest other price I found was like 145 plus shipping. Now comp did charge shipping, but the shipping was like $6.99 or $7 or something. So basically 130 bucks for a set of springs delivered to my door. And I know this is off subject with the valve stem installed height checker tool here, but what I found out years ago was I would change my valve springs probably twice a year in my race bike, just because I revved the hell out of it and had pretty aggressive cams in there. And it was just part of maintenance. I'd pull the heads off to check things out, you know, maybe retouch the valves. And while I had it out, I'd test the springs and usually put springs in it. What I found out was that I could take a spring, and it just hit me one day. I was sitting there thumbing through something. I think somebody's catalog, comp or whoever's catalog, and I was looking at the dimensions of the springs. I was like, huh, this number sounds familiar. So I got looking and I measured, I took an old set of springs and measured, you know, I knew what the installed height was supposed to be, but measured the inside and outside diameter, and sure as shit, they were the same as small block springs for a Chevrolet, and the same for a bunch of other different manufacturers. And I'm looking at them and I'm going, now, you know, I've been buying springs specifically for Harley, and I could get just the springs, and it still cost me a shitload of money. So, you know, I looked up and set up, you know, of course they had prices in their catalog there, back when they still had catalogs, that I could get an entire set of valve springs, same dimensions, same open pressure, same seat pressure, for basically half the money that I could buy 4 springs for. So from that point on, I was buying, I'd just buy a box of 16 valve springs, and, you know, take 4 out that I needed and use those, so I'd have springs for years. Way cheaper than buying specific springs, which, you know, they're the same poundage, same height, same time diameter, same ID, same OD. And the truth is, after using them and pull them apart for maintenance to check the valve springs and check, you know, retouch the valve, touch the valves up, that they were the same as the old springs. That's the important. That just goes back to the importance of keeping records on all your engine stuff for comparison, so you can notice any pattern. If you know, if I put those springs in there and I check them and say after using them for half a year and so many races that, you know, that they were losing 60, 80 pounds of pressure over the old springs that were losing 20 or 30, yeah, I might see a problem with that. But, you know, when they're measuring exactly the same and cost half the money, yeah, that's pretty easy bit math there. But that's it. I'm just rambling now. It's actually cold out today, and wind's blowing through cracks in the door here, and it's wet out. So I'm gonna head back inside and probably eat some breakfast and drink some coffee. You guys take care. If you like my content, please like, share, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. hit the notification bell, and appreciate everybody. Have a great Sunday. Thank you.